Coming in the bottom left-hand corner, the Cryptic Zerg. In the top right, we have the 7-runner Protoss. Let's see, this is going to be a match up for the ages, because nowadays, it's all it is. ZVP. Every tournament you see, that's the championships. ZVP.
Well, the NASL this weekend at least.
Yeah, something like.
So we got the blue toss asking about rank. What do you think about that? Do you like when people ask that? Do you care, or do you think it's kind of BM?
I think it's kind of like a scrub maneuver. I just think I don't know about BM. It's just lacks in confidence or unconfident.
Yeah, well put. I like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Hey man, I didn't go to school, or I went to school, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So it looks like we have a pylon going down here, so that probably means what?
Indicating Forge Fast Expand.
Some sort of gateway play? No.
Indicating Forge Fast Expand, although I don't like the pylon in that spot, but whatever. Only because this is susceptible to Baneling Bust, whatever, but no, let's watch this. Let's see how this plays out.
Throw down Forge there, and Zerg opting for the Scout. Sometimes you just like to rely on your overlords, but not right now. I like that. It's a larger map. Really want to see what they're doing. Sometimes I opt just to take the expansion off of something like a 14 pool. I believe that's what he did also. It's very standard. You don't want anything cheesy to happen. You don't want him to block your ramp with pylons. You don't want him to cannon you as you're trying to get it out.
Well, I see Drone Scout at this time pretty often, so it seems pretty normal to me.
Yeah.
And
that's
okay. Yeah. No. Normally, you want to get your Nexus down before your cannon, unless you see some kind of 7 pool or something like that.
Yeah. Considering that you see the spawning pool halfway done, I'm just a silly Zerg, and I know that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. No. He should have put the Nexus down first, for sure.
Yeah. So it's just a small thing, but definitely helps with your economy. Maybe he's worried about him blocking with a hatch here or something. I like that. That's kind of a fun little play to do. Just throw a hatch down right here. Make some Zerglings out. Go kill his probes. Try it. Alright, I like that.
Well, I don't like it.
Well, no. What do you think about this? What do you think about having the guy third here?
Yeah, that's fine. That's where he should be. I mean, what I personally do is patrol in the middle, so I don't have to really pay attention to him, and he's going to give trouble to the guy put on the third. Although on this map, is the third going to be at the top left, or is it going to be in that lower center?
Yeah, definitely.
Probably up there.
Take a third right here.
Probably there. Okay.
Yeah, this is a little farther.
And it looks like the third's coming, so.
Good pickoff. There you go. And then another thing you could do with these Zerglings, if you have the APM, just kind of patrol them around here. Make sure you don't have any hidden probes. Take the watchtowers.
Yeah.
Check out the third. Very rarely will you see someone take a third, but if you do, definitely put some pressure on that.
Yep. And picking off those pylons, it's not always not every build relies on them, but if they're going for like a quick 7 gate off 2 bases or something like that, the forward pylons are huge, and a smart Zerg will have Zergling scouting for him and picking them off, and it is really annoying when you think you're being sneaky as a Protoss and you get a little pylon in the middle and they get scouted. So it probably only happens 1 in 50 games, but when it happens, you look pretty damn smart as the Zerg.
Yeah, and definitely also to aid with that, you have some overlords to help out. I do like this too. Get a little more additional scouting. And another thing you can do, well, I guess he does have a wing out here. That's good. That's good. That makes sure you can see what's coming out.
Can we look from the Protoss's vision right now? Because the thing about scouting is that it's really huge to scout that third base, and it looks like the Protoss scouted the base, so he should basically know what's up. Probably not going to be a lot of aggression for a while. He's probably fine with 1 cannon. It looks like he got a second one. That's okay. But really, he only needs 1 right now because with 3 bases, the Zerg can't do much. Like, they can't do that 2-base roach all-in kind of stuff. You can put those minerals into better use, like more probes or more gateways or what have you. Just kind of a small thing, though. But, 2 cannons instead of 1's not a huge deal at all.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's getting his main is saturated, and he's working on his natural and his third. Very good stuff.
Let's look at the Protoss and see what kind of tech path he's chosen, or if he's got it yet. So he's going for the Robo. Okay, that's cool. That's like
Robo after one gate.
Yeah, that's kind of the meta game right now, is to get a Robo and to Chrono Boost the shit out of it and get a bunch of sentries and stalkers. But he doesn't have his 2 extra gases, so I can't imagine he's going to get as much sentries as that particular play requires.
And to go along with that, I like this Overlord Scout too. I don't know if he's quite in range to see this one. I guess he's not. If he's a little farther over,
yeah,
being able to scout those gases is key.
Yeah, it's huge.
And yep, as you say it. Well, maybe not. So what does that mean? So if you're not throwing down these 2 gases, what does that generally mean?
Well, the only thing I can think of is you're going to get a bunch of gateways and do some kind of a timing push. It's not 100% for sure, especially because I don't know exactly the level of this. If this was like a Masters level play, that's what I would put my money on.
Definitely. I agree. And so the proper response for that as a Zerg is you want to be very cautious with this larva. It seems like Cryptic is doing a pretty good job of hitting his injects. His queen energy is a little high, but not that bad at all. Actually, no, he's spot on right now. And so the thing is, what you use your larva for. So if he hasn't scouted that yet,
man, that is late for those 2 gases. Unless he's going for like some big ass all in off like 7 gates or something. But he's only got 4 gates and a Robo, so
yeah, and he just scouted that too. What did he see?
I can't really predict this unless if he went for real fast third, it would be kind of ballsy, but it may be possible.
Yeah, so just going back to what I was saying, so not seeing these, yeah, you would generally want to make more basically just lings and roaches and less drones. And the thing is that since he doesn't have this, I feel like he's kind of far behind. I mean, if he gets up on 3 bases,
yep,
and he's fully saturated, and you haven't, because this allows you to tech right here.
Yep.
And if you're not teching, you're not able to catch up. How are you going to take your third?
I wouldn't say real far behind, but definitely a little bit far behind because, like everyone knows that Zerg is always going to have more units than Protoss, but Protoss kind of makes up for it with like some badass tech, like motherfucking lasers coming out of Colossus or motherfucking carriers, which are like the best unit in the game.
And if you're a Protoss or if you're any player, always check how many workers do you have on here. He has 8 more workers than he needs on here.
Yep.
That is oversaturated. You just transfer a couple over here, make sure you have the full 16.
Yep.
I know we say this all the time, but really, that's just so key.
And just to add on to that, it's okay to be oversaturated if you're expecting to expand so you can like Maynard some of those, but you also want to keep them even because what Don Wancher just pointed out between the two, there's way more progs at the main right now than the natural, and you could even those up and get a little more efficiency out of those workers.
Looks like +1 just finished for the Protoss. Oh, I like that. Stalling that 3rd expansion with the creep. Very good play right now. And so this is kind of an interesting point right now because, yeah, he's knocking on the door and, wow, he's really supply blocked right now. And he has so many minerals. Man, he just had a couple more roaches because of those minerals. I think he could really do some damage right here. And the way that he's walled off, I think a really great thing to do is just take those roaches, focus fire that forge, and he's not going to be able to make cannons, he's not going to have any upgrades.
Well, here's the... Tell me about this, though. The Immortals can actually hit the roaches even while they're attacking that forge, so... Do you think it's still worth it when they're taking that heavy damage from those Immortals?
I think it's worth it. I think at this point, since he's still on 2 base, you're just doing economic damage to him. You're doing taking away his upgrades.
Okay.
And you're on 3 bases right now. He should really even take a 4th, maybe even a 5th. I like taking a 5th because if you lose one of them, well, you still have an extra base. So right now, man, I think he should either just max out and try to break this down, or get ready to break down the 3rd, or start attacking to Infestor and getting a hive. And
so I mentioned before about the whole metagame right now and how the metagame is about like lots of sentries, stalkers, and immortals. And he does not have a lot of sentries right now. If he had gotten those gases earlier, he could have had a lot more sentries. And sentries are huge when it comes to killing a whole bunch of roaches. Now let me kind of shift gears right here and tell you about why I love huge air, and I don't necessarily like this play right now. What if the Zerg just got a bunch of mutas right now and went back and forth between the main and the natural and harassed and made it so that the Protoss could never push out? Because that's the kind of play that I run into when I go this kind of play, when I go with the whole Stalker Immortal thing, and it just frustrates the hell out of me, and that's why I like to go air rather than this kind of play.
Alright. Was that a question? Or?
Yeah, that was a question. Why doesn't he just get a Mutalisk and do that? Keep him on 2 base.
Why doesn't he get a lot of muta? It is a pretty big tech switch. Generally, you wouldn't get as many roaches for that. I mean, first of all, you don't have the supply, but yeah, it is a good way to keep him on 2 bases. I think that's kind of the main goal. And then you do want to also tech the Broodlords behind that. But I just feel like Zerg has such an advantage right now. He's getting Corruptors too, getting his Hive, maxing out, and the key right here, really, he should have a 4th base to start mining gas, even a 5th base, because Protoss can't push out anytime soon.
Yeah.
Does he even have Colossus? Doesn't even have Colossus.
And also, we saw before, this is like the anti-Roach army. So.
But even though it is the anti-Roach army, he has a lot of lanes. Really, some infestors would be really good right here. Get some fungals off, but he doesn't even have blink. He doesn't have blink, and I believe that he just finished 2-2. Oh no, you gotta back up. So big thing here is if you're a Zerg, you don't want to engage in tight spaces. Am I right?
Yeah.
Why?
Especially with force fields.
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Force field is gonna cut your shit in half.
And then only half your army is gonna be attacking. All your lings are useless. It's bad news. I'd like to see a +1 for the lings too.
How are the upgrades looking for Protoss? Let me guess, it's 1-1.
Nope.
2-1. Okay.
All right. Yeah, so they are pretty close in that respect.
They're well on their way.
So big thing why I say to get the +1, I feel like there's a big problem with Zergs is transitioning. You get this big army right here with the Roaches and the Zerglings, but you have to transition out of it. This isn't a good late game army. This is a good mid game army, but late game, even this, without any Colossus, it's not. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, like, why did he make those Corruptors? I mean, the Greater Spire's just getting started. It just seems too early to get ready for Broodlords. It seems like he made them anticipating Colossus.
And I don't think that's a bad play, necessarily. Because
even if you haven't scouted Colossus?
They could hit a funky timing where they're basically useless, but he's maxed. He's close to maxed out right now. The problem is to go back to the infestors. If he had some infestors, it's really going to help out. Why he can hit some fungals here and he can drop some Terran bombs on him. Ooh, I like that run by. Good run by. Keep it on 3 bases. That's just so key. And really, he could just about trade out this army. 3 max. There you go. Get some infestors. Get your Broodlords. And I'm not sure. I just saw an Ultralisk den go down. I don't
see Ultras being a good choice with that many Immortals.
Yeah, with the Immortals, maybe if you want to do some sort of crazy Nidus play, it might be kind of cool. That's what I would like to see some more of. Just get an Overseer here, do a little Nidus, he can't push out. And then that's actually a really good way to trade out your army, because right now you want to trade this army out, you want to lose this army, but you have to trade it efficiently.
So, like I said before, the reason I don't like this kind of play is because I told you I was scared of Muta, but really I'm just scared of airplay, like Broodlords or Mutas, and I feel like that's the way to counter this. And I don't think that that's what the Zerg's doing yet. He's taking too long to get his Broodlords up.
Yeah, these force fields. Oh, maybe he wanted the Ultras to break the force field. That could have been what it was. But
just 1 or 2.
He's getting some decent fungals in here. But look at that. Really pull back. If you're in the Zerg right here, you just get force fielded, pull back. Hopefully you have Burrow by now with tunneling claws. You can come back. Oh man, don't lose those infestors. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think right here? What do you think?
Yeah, no, it sounds. I mean, I think Infestors would be better and maybe quicker Broodlords. Although I'm saying quicker Broodlords, but I might just be like a theory crafting noob that doesn't play Zerg. Maybe they don't come that fast.
Well, keeping him on 3 bases.
We're at 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Considering that he didn't have any pressure on, if you get up a 4th and 5th base, and then also you could have had so many spine crawlers. Just go crazy with spine crawlers everywhere.
Yeah.
And especially when someone tries the drop play on you. Oh, there we go. But yeah, there's so much damage from the Immortals. They do 60 damage to armor.
Yep.
That is just ridiculous.
Well, kind of the point I was getting at is like if I ever go this build, which I do sometimes, I'm really scared of airplay. But what do I want the Zerg to do? I want the Zerg to go big ground. I want them to get a bunch of roaches. I want them to get Ultralisk because I have the thing that counters it. So I mean, you're not seeing any Colossus. Like, I don't know. Again, maybe it's theory crafting. I think Mutas is a really great tech path, but definitely Broodlord Infestor like just crushes this.
Yeah, and it's kind of tough. You see this type of army, like you said, there's no real ground army that can beat this.
Yeah.
Maybe some sort of ultra bling with like crazy drops you could do it.
Yeah.
But the Immortals are just too strong.
Yeah,
actually, what is really good if you went Ling Hydra, I think it would tear this up. Because just the way the matchup.
Hydras do die pretty fast.
But
This army composition is sort of the metagame right now. I mentioned at the beginning the metagame has more sentries, but other than having more sentries, this is pretty similar to like what a lot of people like. This is how Sase beat Stefano at MLG Anaheim. It was a similar composition to that. Lots of stalkers, lots of sentries, 2 or 3 immortals, and then transition into Wrecking House.
Yeah, and I think to go back to the Broodlords, he could have had him up. He wanted to go to the Ultralisk.
Yeah, I think the Ultralisk are a bad idea.
He could have sacked this base early on, even sacked his natural. Maybe just had some Broodlords back at his main, getting him morphed in, and then he's good.
So you don't think the Mutalisk idea is a good idea?
No, I think the Muta is, but it's just a different tech. It's just a different tech path.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, a lot of Protoss really fear that big Muta play. Unless, of course, you have a shitload of Corsairs, which is how I play.
Get some Corsairs out. I agree.
Corsairs, I mean that other unit, Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of games where I go Robo, and it seems like the Zerg auto goes Mutas, and they're in a really strong position. So just an idea out there to try. I'm not a Zerg player. I'm a Protoss player that is the victim of Zerg sometimes. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's the only way to beat that, though. It's definitely not the only way to beat it. I think getting the Broodlords out, and really the Infestors, learning how to fungal, learning how to drop the bombs, and then not engaging. You don't want to engage directly on that type of army.
Yeah.
I think a better thing would have been to try to take out his third, or just maybe base traded. But yeah, and stay away from this type of stuff. Don't think about how you lost. I mean, think about how you can get better.
Yeah,
not about how Imba.
And trust me, Protoss feels the same way about Zerg sometimes when they just have a horde of Broodlords falling down on you, and all you have to do is fungal, and then after you plus the fungals, then you just aim move. So
exactly. All right, hope you guys learned something. Don Juancho,
Brobot,
and we are Bro Juancho on Reddit. No, not Reddit.
YouTube.
All right, peace. We're out.